Just after 9 a.m., we'll call the Commissioners Court for Monday, July 27th to order. If we would rise, I have Mike Martin, who is lay pastor of the Montague County Catholic Church, the world for invocation.
Father, we thank you for such a wonderful day. Lord, we thank you for the people on this court, their hard work, their dedication. We just appreciate it so much. I mean, they could be out doing other things, but their dedication to the service community is greatly appreciated. Lord, just ask that you would give them the wisdom and the knowledge and truth and understanding that it takes to do the job. And Lord, I ask that as they gather today, this morning, to conduct the county business, that you would guide them, and that any action or any decision that they would make as a result of this meeting would be in accordance with your will. Lord, this morning we ask that you be with the families of those that have lost loved ones to this coronavirus, that you just put your arms around them and comfort them in their time of grief. And Lord, those that are affected by this, that I wish we pray that you would just touch them with your healing hand and remove this from their body. And Lord, I just ask that this morning that you would be with all of our first responders, not only the fire and the police, but also the EMTs, the doctors and the nurses and the staff, that they keep us safe and they keep us well. And we just add, and they go out every day and they risk their lives too. So Father, we just ask that you put a hedge of protection around them as they go forth and we battle this virus. So Lord, we thank you for everything. And this morning we come to you, and I just lift this court up to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item 3 is public comments. Do we have anybody here to make public comment? We'll go to item number 4, which is our consent agenda, which covers the approval of minutes, examine all accounts and reports related to the finances of the county, audit and settle all accounts against the county and direct their payment, approval of payroll, and accept the county treasurer monthly report.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second. A motion by Commissioner Murphy, a second by Commissioner Darden. Vote. Any discussion? Vote. All vote. Then this morning what we have is to discuss and consider presenting the Montague County Historical Commission appointees with the 2019 Distinguished Service Award for Exceptional Service. And I believe we have Chairman Wayne Wood. And Mr. Wood, if you will, let me read what they've sent to us from Austin. And it says the Texas Historical Commission supports county historical commissions across the state as they work to preserve a cultural and historic resource. The THC administers the Distinguished Service Award program to honor county historic commissions that go above and beyond to fulfill their preservation and mission. The Montague County CHC has been awarded the Distinguished Service Award. This annual award affirms Montague County CHC appointees for managing well-rounded history and preservation-related programs that enrich Texas communities. The Texas Historical Commission could not save the real places that tell the real stories of Texas without county historical commissioners. The THC Executive Director, Mark Wolf, states that the Distinguished Service Award honors these vital partners that preserve our state's history every day, and Montague County's CHC is a deserving recipient for its local leadership and efforts. And so, Mr. Wood, it's my and our court's honor to present this Distinguished Service Award to you and to your committee. for a job well done.
You did hurt, but not me.
I didn't even see her do it.
I done anything, yeah.
Wait a minute, we gotta put that up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
We appreciate your work.
Well, we're trying to do more and more. We've got something coming at the end of September. Last Saturday in September, we're gonna do a talking tombstone tour of Ringgold Cemetery. We're honoring the cemeteries as often as we can. And for those of you that don't know, and I think everybody in here probably does, but what we're doing with this is that we're trying to make sure that the past people of actual accomplishments above and beyond the norm are recognized. And most of them are in the cemeteries. So that from previous past, this is something that we're trying to do to recognize everyone that should be. And we're moving different cemeteries around and getting information on these. And someone takes the place of those that are buried and acts like it's them. So in case any of you want to come out to some of these, this is going to be the last September and last Saturday in September for the Ringgold one. But this is really tells people what is going on in our county. And we're trying to promote our county. We're trying to promote the importance of tourism and to bring people to the rural areas, which we certainly are. So we accept this award. I accept it on behalf of our whole County Historical Commission, and thank y'all for putting up with us in our endeavors to do more. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, the next item, actually, item 6, 7, and 8, unless there's an objection, I can cover those all at one time. What we have is 6 is discuss and consider interlocal agreement between Montague County, Texas and the city of Bowie for the ambulance service, take necessary action. 7 is discuss and consider interlocal agreement between Montague County, Texas and Nakona General Hospital and Nakona EMS for their ambulance service and take necessary action. And item 8 is discuss and consider interlocal agreements between Montague County, Texas and St. Joe Volunteer Fire Department for ambulance service and take necessary action. And it's my understanding that these are interlocal agreements that are signed each year.
I guess, Judge, we're probably gonna have to make a motion separately since they're on separate line items here. And I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement with the city of Bowie, Montague County.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Langford, a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? Vote. All those in favor. Number 7.
I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between Montague County and the Nakona General Hospital / Nakona EMS for ambulance service.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Langford, a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? All voted for. And number 8.
I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between Montague County and the St. Joe Volunteer Fire Department for ambulance service.
Motion by Commissioner Langford, second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? Vote. All right. Number 9 is discuss and consider accepting unanticipated revenue of $8,548 from the Texas Association of Counties Health and Employees Benefit Pool, fiscal year 2019, surplus distributions, and take necessary action.
Make a motion that we accept the unanticipated revenue for $8,548 and put it in contingency.
Montague, second on that. And I guess that's where it goes.
Contingency, Jim.
I didn't know the court had a plan. I didn't,
Oh, put precinct 3, if that's okay.
whatever the court orders, is where the money will go. No, I,
Contingency's fine.
All right, so we've got a motion by Commissioner Murphy, have a second by Commissioner Langford. Any discussion?
Let me ask one thing, haven't we received unanticipated revenue before and it goes into a certain place already, or is that something different?
well, it depends on what it is. This would normally just go into refunds for, miscellaneous revenue in the general fund, but I didn't know if the court had a plan for this 8,548 or,
Unless it needs to go in somewhere, to make ends meet.
yeah, at this point it doesn't.
I'm good with the motion then, Judge.
All right, so we have our motion by Commissioner Murphy, our second by Commissioner Langford. Any additional discussion? Vote. All voted for. Number 10 is to discuss and consider changing the job description and title of the FEMA project manager, take necessary action. This was something that I put on there. I think especially in today's time when we are financially strapped, if you will, grant funding is something that we can use. And in visiting with Mr. Lanier, I know that from all reports, he's doing a great job in our FEMA grant project. And he has, is agreeable to accepting the additional responsibilities of being the grant manager. And what we've done, and I think each of you got a copy of the original job description as well as the new job description. It's a situation where it won't be any additional salary. What we've budgeted will remain the same. But he will take on the additional duties of a grant manager, and that any grants countywide by any of the offices would go through him. He would be in a position then to begin searching for grants to assist with other projects. And then as he does now, he will track that paperwork, and that will give us one person that can coordinate and communicate back with my office, with the commissioners, with the auditor, the treasurer. Also, I can tell you from past experience that with grantors, they prefer to have one person to deal with. And so anyway, that is what I propose. And again, Mr. Lanier, we've discussed this and discussed the new criteria for the job, and he has graciously accepted that if he chooses to do so.
Well, I like the sound of it, Judge, because I know in some of these grants, if you start them, you need to finish them. Even if you don't receive any money, it needs to be finished, whatever the end duty is on the paperwork. So I'm great with that. I'll put that in the form of a motion to, I guess, change his title from FEMA project manager to Montague County grant manager.
And change the job
And
description.
change the job description.
All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Langford. I have a second by Commissioner Darden. Any discussion?
I would like to add that when I did that CDBG grant, it's a dang full-time job keeping up with that grant stuff. It really is. And I mean, so I'm glad that he chose to do that, because when you look at those grants, sometimes you'll hesitate because it's a pain,
It can be very daunting.
but it's worth it. It's like thinking it's worth it if you'll stick with it. So that's all.
Further discussion? Vote. All voted for. Item number 11 is discuss and consider approving the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool reappraisal questionnaire and take necessary action. This is basically an inventory and assessment of the properties and values that the county owns, and there's been, in working with the auditor on this, there's been no changes, same thing we had last year.
Approve, as it needs to be worded, just to to approve the county risk management pool reappraisal questionnaire. Put that in the form of a motion, Glenda, if you, it'll work for you.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Langford,
Second.
a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? All right, vote. All voted. We have number 12, which is discuss, consider, and authorize Judge Benton to sign the fiscal year 2021 memorandum of agreement, interlocal government agreement between Montague County and Helen Farabee Centers and take necessary action. For some, all of you know what this is. We contract with Helen Farabee for mental health services every year. It looks like we've paid $16,000 annually, and that amount has not changed. So this is an agreement for us to continue with that service at that rate, and give me authorization to sign that.
I'll make a motion that we accept the 2021 memorandum of agreement with the Helen Farabee Center, and I'll allow Judge Benton to sign that document.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Murphy, a second by Commissioner Langford. Any discussion? Vote. All voted for. I have item number 13, which is discuss and consider imposition of optional fees for calendar year 2021 as requested by Texas Department of Motor Vehicles and take necessary action. This is our registration fees. And again, this is something that, this is the same amount is listed here that we had last year. There's been no changes in that.
I'll make a motion that we accept the imposition of optional fees for 2021 as requested by the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. So does anybody need to sign that?
No. There's a document to fill out that simply says that we will or will not change, but there is no signature.
Motion's made.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Murphy. I have a second by Commissioner Darden. Any discussion? Vote. All voted for. Okay, number 14 is discuss and consider the canvass of the July 14th, 2020 primary runoff and take necessary action. Ginger Walls has given me this information, and so the canvass will be as follows. For the Republican U.S. Representative District 13, candidate Ronnie Jackson received 1,223 votes. Josh Weidgarner received 645 votes. For the Republican Justice Second Court of Appeals, District Place 7, I have Brian Walker, who received 1,304 votes. Elizabeth Beach, who received 431 votes. For the Democratic U.S. Senator, I have Mary M.J. Hager, who received 103 votes. And I have Royce West, who received 32 votes. For the Democratic U.S. Representative for District 13, I have Gus Trujillo, who received 86 votes, and Greg Sagan, who received 46 votes. And then for the Democrat Railroad Commissioner, I have Krista Castaneda, who received 77 votes, and Robert R. Beto Alonso, who received 53 votes. Ms. Walls, is there anything additional on that?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the canvass for the 2020 runoff primary.
Sorry.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Langford and a second by Commissioner Darden. Any discussion? All voting for. All right. Discuss and consider, number 15, discuss and consider accepting bids from Kevin Ramsey of $200 each for lot 27, 178, 10, 10A, block 1 for Oak Shores Edition. Lot 531 Oak Shores, lot 48 Oak Shores Edition, and take necessary action.
I guess that's in mind, Judge, there. I'll make the motion to accept the bid for those lots, get them back on the tax roll anyway.
So I've got a motion by Commissioner Langford,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any discussion? Vote. I'll vote for. Item number 16 is discuss and consider request to vacate portions of the road in Unit 2, Hillcrest Lake subdivision. Take necessary action.
Judge, I put this on there. This is it's a little bit of a problem that occurred in 2003 for the previous commissioner. Dug up his court orders and he vacated. Somehow that road in there was, I guess when it was finally laid out, it was 80 foot wide, and they adopted a motion in 2003 that the widest on even a first class road was 60. There's an extra 20 foot that they brought to my attention in there for this. It's actually Hillcrest Lake subdivision / Buckhead Lakeview Edition 2. All that's one word, and it's part of lots 5 and 6. And I'd like to go ahead and clean this up and vacate those 2 portions right there according to the transportation code. And I'll post it. I think it has to be posted for 2 weeks, and then we'll have to have a public hearing on it, say 15 minutes before the meeting. So I'll probably do this, have plenty of time. I'd like to do it for our 4th Monday meeting next month, if that would work. That'd give me time to get it in the paper and go from there and get it posted. It's part of it was cleaned up in 2003, and this will just have the rest of it. Y'all got a little old part of the survey in your packet, I think, that shows that little old cut there and how these roads got that little old stretch. But the landowner that bought this is a little worried for some reason that I would go in there and cut his property off, which I can't do anyway, but this will have it cleaned up. Half will go to him, half back to the county. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to vacate a portion of the lots 5 and 6.
Second.
All right, so I've got a motion by Commissioner Langford. I have a second by Commissioner Darden. Any discussion? All to vote. All voted for. All right, that moves us to item 17, which is our budget workshop. I don't know, I don't have a list in front of me of who all is signed up, but I know that.
If it's okay, Judge, I'd like mine should be short and sweet.
Absolutely.
Basically, I'm asking my budget to remain the same. I did put an increase in, I believe it was training of $500. That's simply something we've done ever since I became the county attorney. There used to be virtually no money in travel and training because they utilized the hot check fund. That sort of dwindled over the years with fewer and fewer people use checks. So each year over the last several years, I've increased it just a little bit just to try to accommodate that. Who knows what the training will be like next year, if you'll be able to even stay in a hotel room or not. But that's really all I have in mind. Unless anybody's got any questions.
I hadn't heard anything on Jim Allison for trying to, commissioner, everybody has to have so many hours, but they hadn't said whether it's going to be waived this year or we're going to have to try to get it online, looks like.
Yeah, a lot of it, I've done some online training already, which that certainly alleviates the travel costs and everything. Even at least for my CLE hours, and I know the VAC continuing education hours, you have to pay for the courses, all that jazz. But I did do some checking with Glenda. We file somewhere between 300 and 400 cases every year. That's actually filed cases, so that doesn't include stuff that comes in and either doesn't meet the elements of crime or get dropped. It doesn't count all the reviewed cases. Doesn't deal with the motions to proceed to adjudication or revocation, things of that nature. Anyway.
Thank you.
It's a good budget. Good for us this year anyway.
Let me grab one. Sorry. Excuse me. Right. Who do we have next?
Jimmy Greg, Mark is in the hallway.
Say again.
I know the DA's out there.
Okay. Enos, you want to present your budget request, sir?
Yes, sir. Okay. The only thing I'm asking for that's changed from my budget from last year is to fund a second ADA position. My letter that I drafted in May, I had proposed two alternative options, either ask the court to fund $10,000 of that position and supplement the rest of it with forfeiture, or just fund the entire position through forfeiture. I understand the constraints on the economy, so I'm fully prepared to fund that position exclusively out of forfeiture, including any benefits that go along with that position. I believe the proposed salary was $71,660. That's for the salary. I'd have to get with Jennifer to get the exact numbers on what that would cost as far as benefits go. But my proposal would be just to fund that position for a year, and then I'd like to reevaluate that next fiscal year. The only other change I would ask from what I asked for in my letter is to have the capability to start that position starting September 1st rather than October. We think that jury trials will start in September. As of right now, obviously that's going to change, but that's the only other thing that I would ask to change from my original proposal. I'd also proposed buying a new Tahoe for Chris, and also I know how the economy is, so I'm prepared to pay for that out of forfeiture as well. I think we may have a little bit of leftover in our training budget because we haven't been able to go. So that may help offset some of the cost of the Tahoe if that's still in my budget at the end of the fiscal year. Other than that, we pay for that out of forfeiture. And we had previously discussed with the sheriff's office to turn over the existing Tahoe to the sheriff's office for their use. They had expressed some interest in using that as an undercover vehicle or for any other law enforcement purpose they might be necessary. So that was part of that proposal as well. And that's all I have.
Do you know how many miles is on that vehicle, Casey?
It has over 150. I don't know the exact number as of today.
On this, you said reevaluate, you're planning on keeping, if you get this DA, keeping it not more, for more than 1 year, aren't you?
I expect we'll need the position for more than 1 year.
Yeah.
But I would like to just come back and talk to the court about how that works. Obviously, I don't know exactly how that's going to play out without getting that position and starting and seeing how things work. So I'd just like to be able to update the court on that in the next budget.
I think what we talked with the auditor, I think that this salary is about an additional 22%, I think is what we're looking at to cover all the benefits.
We expected just shy of 100,000 to cover the entire position for the year.
And I'll bring it up because I know when you and I talked, I would, and of course we haven't got down to that part yet. I would like to see the county, try to chip in at least 10,000 for this position. And I don't know for who that remembers, we took out an assistant DA 2 or 3 years ago, 50,000 out of there. And, I'd like to see that if we can do it. I know you're wanting to fund it next for the whole thing, but if we can start helping that, it just eases into it a lot better. We're gonna go that route. So,
We don't have real numbers yet.
Well, and I appreciate that. I know numbers are tight this budget, and so that's why I'm fully prepared to fund that position. And then I appreciate that support. And if we're able to look at that next fiscal year and things are looking a little bit better, then maybe we can explore that option again.
and, I don't have no, we'll wait whenever you don't start the motion, but I don't have no problem with your hiring this one and the new vehicle. You're funded strictly pretty well out of your forfeiture account, so.
Jennifer,
If the court allows her to hire September 1, like she's requested, and the county pay for it, do you have it in your current budget to cover that salary in your current funds?
how much do you have in training?
Last I asked Cassie, we had about, I think it was 7,000 in our training and transportation, because we haven't used as much travel either.
That's what she's saying, because there wouldn't be money allowed till October 1, so you'd have to have money in your budget this year.
Oh,
She certainly has sufficient forfeiture.
absolutely, yes. And that, I am asking for the start date to be funded out of forfeitures. If it's September 1st, and for sure that month at least, we fully funded.
So you can move that forfeiture money anytime.
Yes, sir. That's my understanding.
With the court's approval.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it at all. She's using her money.
We have the money in our offices, she has money left over. Does it go back into her office again, or is it
General fund.
No,
go
it's
back to
general
the
fund.
fund? So if it gets close, you really want to spend every dime you can to fund this, so let it go back into the general fund.
Well, my plan was to put any leftover money in our budget towards the Tahoe to help offset the cost of that. That's not going to cover the Tahoe, obviously, but
You know, that you got.
yes.
You're lucky to work with.
But I think we can get a police package Tahoe for around 30,000, which I think is pretty reasonable price. So,
Only thing you're interested in doing before October 1 is the DA.
Yes,
We can-
out of forfeiture. Yes.
Oh, the Tahoe,
Not for what I'm,
I think on the buy board, I think it shows them at maybe 32,
really?
32.5.
Yes, sir.
That's without any, obviously, any equipment, no lights, no radios, just the vehicle.
but there's a lot of equipment on his that we could transfer over. It's still good equipment.
Got a motion, Bob?
One more question, if that's fine, Judge, I'd soon go ahead and get started. If I put that in the form of a motion, it would it have to be worded then for totally funded out of the forfeiture account right now?
Yes.
Because we won't know on the 10,000 until we start, till we get to at least get I call it the effective rate, whatever the no new tax rate is. I put that in the form of a motion, Judge, to fund the second assistant DA out of DA's forfeiture account. And I don't have the exact dollar amount in front of me for that position, though.
As long as the court gives me permission, I can
Okay,
put that in her budget.
all right, I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Back in September 1.
Yes, starting September 1 of 2020.
Second.
All right, so I've got a motion by Commissioner Langford, I've got a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any additional discussion? Vote. All voted for.
I'll go ahead, Judge, and make the motion for the Tahoe out of the DA's forfeiture account, which it won't be done until October 1, or the new budget rolls over, but I'll go ahead and put that in the form of a motion to let the DA purchase a new Tahoe out of her forfeiture account.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Langford, a second by Commissioner Darden. Any additional discussion? Vote. All voted for. Thank you. We have Paul Murphy, who wishes to speak to his budget on the veterans.
Yes, sir. As you already know, the Veteran Service Office, we had restrictions placed on us last year about release of PPI, and Angela Usselton, who was our receptionist secretary, was not able to access the information that she would need to access without being accredited by the state. So the decision was made last year, it was in November, that we would go ahead and make her an assistant veteran service officer and provide her the training that she was needed. And you guys appointed her, this court appointed her on November last year, and she got the training in January 15th, and now she's fully up and running, assistant veteran service officer, and things are going great. At the time, we didn't have it in our budget to increase her pay, and I would request at this time that we increase her pay to reflect her responsibilities. Getting with the auditor on there, she gave a best guess at the time of $18,335 would be the amount of increase annually to bring her up to in line with a deputy clerk's position in the court. And then I also requested another $750 in additional training, assuming that training restarts here this year. So it comes out to just slightly over 19,000.
Yep, your report says 19,085.
Murph, just so I can be out front and up forward with you, you know, when you and I visited about this in the courtroom before you brought that over, or at the courthouse over just a little bit, wasn't any problem with, you know, moving her up to assistant, but I told you at the time I wasn't for sure about the money at the time. And, you know, my deal is, and I don't speak for nobody but myself, I try to look at salary for everybody every other year. And I know we've got a few of those reduced salary positions, and I don't know how or what I want to handle that until we get our final numbers in on that. But I just wanted to make it up front and out forward. It has nothing to do with anything other than I try to put in pay raise every other year, and it's worked pretty decent for everybody around here. So if it didn't happen, that's just where I stand on it.
No, you mentioned that last year, and I understand.
Yeah. All I know is we'll know more when the tax assessor gets her final numbers in. And you know, my only concern is if I do one of the reduced salary positions, we've got several more in here that I think are, you know, vitally important to this county too. I'm looking real forward. I'd like to try to get them all at one time up to where they make a deputy salary, and you know, get away from that until we hire somebody temporary, something like that. So anyway, that's more than what you asked for on that, but that's, you know, I just want to make you aware of what.
Right, and I just keep in mind that she was, her corporate knowledge, the information she was getting, and her familiarity with the veterans and all this complicated system the VA has, she was gaining that knowledge already, and now she's at another level. And I just would hate to see it. It's a very marketable position around here. So,
And I appreciate all you do, believe me, because you do a super good job, and I've had nothing but, you know, comments. They're very thankful for the job that you do over there. So it has nothing to do with that.
No, I understand.
It's just strictly budgeted and what Montague County can do.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mark.
Anybody else? Sure.
We have George Nichols from Spillman. Some about the numbers we had questions about last time on Spillman software. And this is Jordan Nichols. He's from Spillman. Y'all like to ask him any questions about that? One other thing that I didn't add on last time I talked to you was that quote also brought in shared agencies, there's no comment in St. Joe Police Department on that quote. It hadn't before.
We get a little bit of money from no comment, right? Not much, but anything for St. Joe.
No. Get about 1,500 a month, no comment. We talked to St. Joe and they were going to, but so far it hasn't materialized.
So the total package that's being proposed, I'm understanding, is for the jail, RMS, and CAD. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so what is that total cost?
So that total cost is right here. Do you mind if I distribute these updated? So that total cost is the 231,000. That covers the implementation of the project, the initial software and hardware purchases, all of the services associated with implementing the project, and there's a recurring annual maintenance payment of $33,000. And that would start 1 year after the system live date when you turn on the system.
And so does that include, is that 231, 351, does that include the data conversion as well? Or is that additional?
That would be additional. So yeah, in working with the sheriff's office, we had determined that data conversion was going to be excluded from the project, at least this time. Yeah.
So we have the second year contract amount of $33,878. What would be the total amount that would be paid this year?
So it depends on how you wanted to break it up. So there's standard payment milestones that you could follow that go across the implementation of the project. So a standard implementation is about 12 months. And so you could take that 231,000 and we spread it out over that 12 months and we tie it to milestones. So the first one might be at contract signing. The second one might be when we deliver the hardware, just to kind of hold our feet to the fire. The other option, and there's some financing options in here, is you can actually do a financing term of 3 or 5 years and bundle in the out years of maintenance and do sort of one payment every year for 3 years or for 5 years if there's interest in that type of arrangement. So to answer your question, under standard terms, you would spread that 231 out over the 12-month implementation period and then start to pay the 33,000 starting 1 year after we turn the system on, or you can look at the financing arrangements.
And then do you have a built-in increase each year for updates and upgrades
Yeah, we typically do 3 to 4%.
each year? So it would be the 33,878 the first year and then 3 to 4% on top of that each year.
Each year thereafter. So one of the things I'll point out that is unique in terms of how we offer our software is that it's a site license, meaning it covers the entire sheriff's office. If they're to grow over the years and add additional users or licenses or devices, they can add those to the system without having to incur additional costs or additional seat licenses or things of that sort. As they grow the department, they can grow the system as well.
Right. Not have to continue to add site licenses each year.
Sure.
Does it start off with a certain amount of licenses that you get, or however many, I guess, licenses?
It's a blanket for the site.
It's a blanket for the site. So obviously we had to create the baseline pricing somewhere, right? We're not going to charge $2 million. And so we factored in the current size of the sheriff's office to create the current pricing. But then from there on out, you can grow the system as the sheriff's office grows.
So if you don't do the data conversion, you're just starting brand new then? You're not using any of the historical data?
That's correct. So probably about half the projects that we work on do a data conversion and half don't. With the data conversion, different softwares are written in different languages, and so it's like fitting a square peg into a round hole. So you'll have challenges in terms of what comes over and the accuracy of that data, as well as how clean is that data in the old system, junk in, junk out. So do you want to bring over dirty data into a new system? But then there's also, you can also query that old system if you leave it up and running. And then we also find that after 3 to 6 months, you've populated your frequent flyers into the new system anyways, because those are the people that are always, same people are being dealt with on a recurring basis. And so you'll naturally repopulate the system within 3 to 6 months.
And that was a question I had, was if there is no data conversion, how long? I don't know if we have to stay under contract with the existing company for a period of time, because we would have to continue to access that.
Yeah, so there's a number of different options with the data conversion. So our implementation takes about 12 months. So let's say hypothetically you sign a contract with us in October, then you would go live on the system October of 2021. So during that time, you could take some of the files and manually convert them into a separate database. You could, what we've done that's cheaper than converting the data into the new system is we'll actually take that old data and just convert it into a standalone database that you can just query, so people can go off to the side and query that old data if they need to access it. Or we can look at costs of doing a data conversion into the new system.
But to set it up for a query that would begin when yours began is included in that price.
What do you mean?
You're saying that you can take that data and move it into an area, let's say, that can be queried by the staff.
Yeah, so rather than a full live data conversion, which is where we take the data from Justice Solutions and put it into Spillman so that it's now part of the new system, we would actually just take that Justice Solutions data and put it into its own just separate SQL database that someone on basically 1 or 2 computers could go access outside of the Spillman system, basically dead data that you could just go and access. And that service is cheaper than doing a full data conversion into Spillman.
So to do that, that's not in this price.
Correct.
Any idea what that would cost?
So the last one we did that for was Atascosa County, and that was about $12,000. Whereas a full data conversion's 40 to 50.
Just for somebody that doesn't know anything about computers,
Sure.
have you seen the computers that's in the sheriff's department?
I've seen the ones in the sheriff's department. Haven't seen anything in the vehicles.
Will they work on this system here?
They do. They will.
Any other questions?
Everything's expensive in this world nowadays, seems like very expensive.
So I'll just point out, and I know the sheriff's office has done a lot of research on this project, but one of the goals of this project is to, one, improve officer and first responder safety. So empower them with tools and actionable insights as they're arriving to their calls, before they're arriving to their calls, so they can understand historical information about the addresses they're responding to. You know, is there a COVID patient at that address, all accessible from the system, or is it a dangerous person that is assaulted towards police? All that information will be accessible real time by the guys and gals responding to those calls, as well as providing faster response times to the community by having a fully integrated and connected system. So it's matter of public and community safety, I understand it would represent a big investment for the county. But always in light of improving some of those critical things for the infrastructure and safety of the county.
And I'm personally familiar with your product,
Okay.
and it's a good product.
Where had you seen it before or used it before?
In my past career.
Okay.
Can I add anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Is everybody aware of what's in dispatch? How many computers, everybody's been in there and seen everything? Kind of our setup. We have 6 screens and we have 4 systems that run on them. We have our cop sync screen, which is our GPS to keep up with our deputies when it's working. And then we have our open box that we have to have, and then we have our CAD, which is our Justice Solutions. And then we have our 911 system. We've got 6 screens, and none of them relate. None of them combine, none of them talk to each other. Same thing goes with what's in the car. None of that talks to our CAD system. So whenever they run anybody or do anything out in their mobile unit, it doesn't come to us. Like I said, GPS half the time doesn't work. But with this system, all of it works together. We have one map where our 911 calls will come in on. It'll also be the map that our GPS of our EMS, our fire, and our deputies will all be on. And they'll be able to see the calls themselves. So we'll be able to track them, but they'll also be able to track each other also. If we have a wreck or something, EMS will know where fire is, fire will know where our deputies are en route to it. So officer safety wise, that will be beneficial. Plus, with this system, they can write tickets. They can also do their work while they're waiting on a wrecker. With the system now, they can't. Justice Solutions has 7 users. That's our license, 7. We have 14 desk computers between the jail, dispatch, and then our deputies, sheriff, and investigators, and then our chief. We all can't be on computers doing everything. Dispatch keeps 2 running, the jail keeps 2 running. That's 4 of our 7 licenses as of right now. That leaves 3 open for investigators to be working on a case, or deputies be doing a report, or the sheriff or chief having to go back through and do their stuff. With the unlimited, we'll all be able to do our work at one time instead of taking turns. I don't know how many times during the day we hear, can somebody please get off Justice Solutions so somebody else can get on? That happens multiple times. So having the unlimited license would definitely help everybody get everything done quicker. Plus, the mobile side of it, for the deputies, they will be able to do their work out on the road. Right now they can't, because if they turn their system on and try to do a report, it takes up one of our licenses. And so it's not capable of doing that. So they have to wait till they come back and do the reports. Same with bookends or information when we arrest somebody. Nothing can be done until they come back to the jail. This system, they could do the report sitting on the side of the road waiting on the record. They can also go ahead and submit all the information of who they've arrested to the jail. Bookends halfway done by the time they get there. They have to ask them a few questions and they're ready to book in, fingerprint, and be done. Whereas now our bookends take almost an hour or longer depending on who's working, because you have to go through everything to do it. So efficiency would increase, get our guys in and out, back on the street, and everything talks to each other, and we can keep up with everybody better. I like the idea that we can keep up with EMS and fire. And you don't know how many times that when you've got a wreck going on, that you've got EMS and fire talking over each other on the fire channel, trying to find directions, trying to figure out where to go, what to do, what's going on. And this way, everybody know where they're at. They would hit a point on the GPS. They'll have it on their tablet, and it will pinpoint exactly where it's at. They'll know exactly how to get there, the quickest route, the best route. And so everybody knows where they're going. I know that last week we had an accident out on Crenshaw Road, and I was working, and so I was having to relay to everybody where at. Second bend, third bend, having to tell them how far to go down the road. And so there was a lot of confusion on how far and where to go with this system, they have their map right there in the first unit that left, and everybody just follow along, and they know exactly where they have to go. So safety-wise, it's a lot better, less regular traffic, and a lot less confusion. I think would also would help out some. But efficiency and everything working together to get things done quicker, faster is a plus for the system.
Well, there's no doubt it's a great system.
It has
Okay.
great benefits.
And, it's like I've had a discussion with the sheriff. We don't have our numbers in yet. It just, this may not be a year that we can afford to do it, is the issue.
Mhm.
As far as tracking each other, do you have CopSync running into cars?
They do when it works.
Doesn't work?
It doesn't always work. It doesn't, and it's a pain whenever it doesn't work, because at night I work late shift and I usually have one deputy from 3 to 6 on. And if he's making a traffic stop on 287, his cop seat doesn't work, and he doesn't call out and tell me where he's at.
So do we dealt with CopSync on it? It was not working.
That was one of the other, they changed their name to CoLogic. That was one of the other systems we looked at also.
Yeah, we looked at 4 different systems, and CoLogic CopSync went bankrupt. CoLogic bought it out. So now it's all different. And it's not the same thing that we have now. It's a little different. And the system's not, the offense and reporting system is not anything comparable to what Spillman has.
So you still have CopSync when you get this new one?
No, we'll get rid of CopSync and we'll get rid of Justice Solutions, two
So we
systems.
got two payments right there that we can.
And I think it's broken out on the sheet, what the total software costs are for current Justice Solutions, as well as CopSync. And Jennifer, I'm not mistaken, that line item on software covers both accounts, is that correct?
At 22,304.
And it may be, again, our numbers aren't in, so we're not going to make any absolutes today. Something the sheriff and I discussed was that we may be in a situation where we, at least for a fix for this year, we may be in a situation where we have to add user licenses to Justice Solutions, because I do know that's a problem over there, where every time you turn around, somebody's on the intercom saying, please log off so I can log on. And I do know that's a problem. And so it may be a situation where we have to, if we can't move forward on this program, it might be that we have to add some user licenses to get you through this year.
And if I can just add something on the, I think y'all have purchased some vehicles via lease arrangements, and there's a couple of those plans here on the back of this quote that you guys can look at, and 2 of them are in arrears, which means that you could sign a contract with us in October and delay the first payment an entire year. So you, again, sign a contract, we'd start working and implementing the project, that you wouldn't have a payment due for an entire year. And so there's 2 payment plans on here, 3-year payment plan in arrears and 5-year payment plan in arrears, where that first payment is delayed an entire year. Yes, there is a little bit of interest associated with those payment plans, as with any financing, but rates are low. And one of the benefits is you bundle in your annual maintenance into those payments, and the maintenance is actually discounted 5% when you bundle it in with the lease agreement. So something for consideration if you do deem it a need but don't want to spend that cash right now. There is an option to.
And I understand that, but also we would have to, I don't have a crystal ball to know what next year's budget is going to look like.
Sure.
And then we'd be in a situation where we're faced with that.
Appreciate it. We're looking at things to, for security guys, to improve, getting the guys out there. Y'all always work with us. Really appreciate fast and stuff. We didn't anticipate COVID-19 when we started looking at this. First thing I see is numbers and like that, but then I see all that it's good for. It's worth it. But COVID-19 hit us, so just whatever we can do. We really appreciate y'all working with us on, even looking at it. I mean, I could just said, no, don't even look at it. I appreciate you. I appreciate Jordan, you worked with us a whole lot. Trying to work out the things.
Well, as I say, I'm familiar with your product, and it's a great product. You just need to see what happens. Sheriff, thank you.
Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Do you have anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on my original numbers that I sent in on my budget, I need to talk about my rental agreements. I have since got a HAVA CARES grant, and that helped us buy a laptop, and a new laptop in my office. And we also were able to purchase an additional program, our scanning program. This will make my yearly my annual fee go up. I just wanted y'all to be aware, and it was it's going to go up from 22,000. I mean, my total agreements with everybody to 23,850. $1,850 is what my increase will be on that line item with my new software. And the reason for the additional, I just wanted to explain to everybody, the reason that we did buy the new laptop and the additional Vista is because we're going to need additional staff, and they're anticipating an increase in our absentee ballot files in this upcoming election, and maybe even next year. I mean, we're not sure yet how that will go, but anyway, that's all I have.
Well, no, you got your hands full.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other offices? Yes, we are. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Murphy, a second by Commissioner Langford. Any discussion on that? Voted all in favor.
I've already written down.
All matters now is on the final one.
I can carry it back.
Yeah.